Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the Carrie Roldan Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so a week having conversations that matter to the mompreneur's mind, body, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Roldan, and I'm a wife, a mother, an author, a coach, a personal growth junkie, and your business BFF. I help busy mompreneurs to spread their wings, to leverage their unique gifts and talents so that they can make an impact on the world. And I'm also an avid runner, and I believe it to be an essential practice, not just for my health and fitness, but for the health of my business as well. And to learn more about that, you can download my free report, The 5 Reasons You Can't Afford Not to Run, at freereport.runyourselfhappysystem.com. So today's topic is brand personality. What is it and how do you find yours? And I admit that when I first heard today's guest, Roxana Branigan, utter the phrase, I felt a bit like Buddy the Elf. I was like, ooh, what's that? I want one. I wanted my personality to come through authentically in the ways that I was marketing myself, especially online as a coach. And I really felt cookie cutter. Because I was trying to adhere to templates or blueprints that were supposed to help me find my ideal clients. I'm betting a lot of you can relate. I was really excited when I heard Roxana mention brand personality. Just by hearing that phrase, it felt right. And I knew that I needed to get me one of those, which is why I've enlisted Roxana's help here today. So Roxana Branigan is the perfect person to have on the show today, because she's a mompreneur twice over. Roxana left her cushy corporate advertising job where she helped transform multi-million-dollar brands like Cadillac. So do you guys remember that Cadillac campaign that was "It's not your grandfather's car anymore," that basically transformed the whole brand? That was Roxana. Now she went through a divorce, and she knew that she needed to be there to pick her son up from school. She wanted to be a hands-on mom and was done having a nanny raise her son. She also needed to be able to support herself, so she started a business here in California called Play Ball, which is really, really cool because my son participated in it before I even knew who Roxana was. And after remarrying, selling that business, moving across the country, and becoming a therapist, a life coach, and a best-selling author, Roxana has found herself right where she is meant to be. Roxana now helps coaches and mompreneurs to create a brand that is true to you, to connect with your ideal clients, to step into the big leagues. And she says that it all starts with brand personality. So Roxana, welcome to the show. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so jazzed about talking, to everybody and sharing what brand personality is. I can't even tell you. And thank you so much for that awesome introduction. You killed it there. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I wrote it myself.
Very nice.
Okay. So Roxana, let's get started. Let's just get right into it, right? Because I just mentioned I'm super excited even when I just hear the phrase brand personality. Something about that phrase like tickles me on the inside and gets me like, yeah, no joke, like, oh my gosh, yes, I want one of those. I need one. But can you tell me, what is it? What is brand personality?
Yeah, it's a great question because a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, a lot of people have heard of branding and personal brands and this whole thing, but essentially brand personality is the foundation of all branding. And it's simply the way your clients, both current clients and potential clients, feel about you. And you are your business, right? So the idea is it's getting to know what you are, who you are, and how you want people to perceive you, and how you want them to think about you, what opinions you want them to have about you, how you want them to feel in their hearts about you. That's essentially what brand personality is. It's a meaning, so it's intangible. It's not something that you could actually pick up and look at or even look at. It's completely intangible. And a lot of people confuse what brand personality is with a logo or a website. It's not that. That's your brand image, that's what comes after you've discovered what your brand personality is. So brand personality is truly the foundation of everything. Of, you want to start a business, then that's where you need to start. And that's exactly what I did with the big dogs. And the big dogs like Cadillac and Toyota, Nissan, Carl's Jr., that's where they started. And I have taken that process that I used to do with these big, multi-million-dollar brands, and I've brought it to entrepreneurs because I feel that it's important that entrepreneurs have the same experience that these big dogs had. And so I am loving it. And I got to tell you, Carrie, I did it for myself because when I became an entrepreneur, I had to get clarity on who I am, what kind of voice I want to have, how I want people to perceive me, how I want them to feel when they hear about me. So one day I was just sitting there and I'm just like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? What do I want? And it just clicked. I'm going to do the same process I did with these big guys. And that's exactly what I did. And literally the clarity was just mind-boggling. I couldn't believe it. I was just so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I have to do with everybody else.
Well, so let's talk about that because this is what I have seen in the coaching industry, and I'm sure just for any entrepreneurs, right? I just happen to be a coach, and so those are kind of the circles that I run in. But everybody's telling us you need clarity. You need to know who you are. And quite frankly, before I started working with you, I thought I had clarity. Like I knew there's some areas where I need to get more clear, but I thought that those areas were like, I need the right slogan, or I need, like, I didn't know how much further back I had to go until I started working with you. And I was going to say something else, and I've completely lost my train of thought because my stinking dog is barking. So I really hope you guys all can't hear my dog. But if so,
it's fine. Don't worry.
But so yeah, when I started working with you, I recognized, it's not just about getting clear on, like you're talking about the image that I want. I have to go back from there and kind of get clear on, okay, why would I want to project that image? What is that? What does that image project? And is that really what you want to say? So I'm going to stop talking and let you talk for a second about that.
Yeah, no problem. And I think that you really nailed it there because what happens is a lot of people and a lot of entrepreneurs, right, whether they're transitioning from a corporate America or whether they're just, they're entrepreneurs, they've been entrepreneurs, but they're not really happy with the way their branding currently is. Well, what happens is that most people are concerned about the brand image. Like, yes, you want clarity around who you want to work with, or you have clarity about who you are. But what people really don't look at is looking at the clarity from a point of view of how do you want people to feel. So, for example, Apple is a great example of this, right? They have done an incredible job of making people feel a certain way about their products. I mean, people know that when you have an Apple product, whether it's an iPad, an iPhone, or whatever other product that they have, you're in the know. You're pretty cool. You're like, you got the latest technology. Why? Because they are technologically advanced. They are creative. They're innovative. They know how people perceive them. But that was intentional. They made it that way. So they started at this very point where how do I want people to feel? So it's getting clarity around the feeling and not so much about, the who you want to work with and who you are in terms of like a person. You might know that, but you might not know really how you want people to feel about you and how you want them to feel about you, right? And then once you've discovered how you want them to feel about you, it's really embodying that authentic voice. So it needs to come through in your verbal communication, in your written communication, and then in the colors that you choose in your website and your logo. So that comes later. But you can't do all that authentically if you don't have the foundation of really knowing what this brand personality is, what your true brand personality is. Because at the end of the day, it really needs to be an extension of your own personality, and hopefully, in that way, you can truly embody it and live
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and be it. And
Yeah.
and people connect with that. They connect with knowing that that's what you do. And I have this incredible process that, I'd love to share in a little bit, but I think it's something that it gives that big aha that people want. And they've been waiting for, and they're like, but I know what I want to do to attract clients, and I know what I want to do to work with people, or whatever it is that your ideal client is. But the reality is that everyone has eliminated or forgotten about figuring out how they want that person to feel, because emotionally connecting is what's going to get you those clients.
Okay, so let's actually go there, because
Okay.
as you're talking, well, first I was thinking of two things, and okay, I'm going to talk in a circle for a minute. Roxana and I were talking before this call, or this hangout on air, and one of the things that came up is, so many of us, I think, because we are adhering to those blueprints, or and they're well-meaning, right? They're worksheets to help you get to your brand personality, or maybe they're just to attract your ideal client, but the idea is to get to your authentic self. And you said something important. You said embodying your authentic voice. So here's what I found, is that, one, I did have something called imposter syndrome. Before I started to work with you, I was just really listening to what other people said was working, and agreeing with it, being like, oh yeah, I'm that too. Oh, and that, yeah, I'm that too. Okay, I'm getting to my authentic self. I'm a little bit of that, I'm a little bit of that. And trying to kind of, I don't know, make that into a brand personality. There was a little bit of, even though I knew I was great with clients, it was like feeling like I had to project something slightly different, which is weird, right? That it would be find your authenticness and project something slightly different. And yet that's how I felt, because I was, like I said, I was trying to be cookie cutter. I was trying to fit myself into the boxes. I was trying to fill out the worksheet and come up with, at the end, okay, this is what I want to project. And just in that little, Roxana and I are in the middle of working together. So we've had a couple of sessions together, but it was in the middle of this first session with Roxana that I came across, talking it out with her, having a person to reflect things back to, that I recognized, no, really, I seriously just want to be your business BFF. I just want to hold your hand. I want to do this business thing with you. I want to cheer you on. I want to, literally, I want to be your business BFF. And it was like, there was this moment of clarity for me that is really authentic to me, that never would have come out of not having gone through this process. It never would have come out of those blueprints or worksheets, etc. So yeah, that was a long commentary on that. And then I did, I did.
And I think, Carrie, I think you bring up a great point, because that's why I so wholeheartedly believe in this process. I'm telling you, it really it transformed my whole business too. I mean, literally, it did. And I knew that I had to take it to other people, because I felt that there's a reason it works. And once you get this clarity, I mean, it just all comes together. Everything comes together. And at the end of the day, you do want to be authentic, because if you're authentic, and your voice is coming through the way you speak and no one else, and your written communication, your post, whatever it is coming through the way you do it, then the people that connect with you, they're going to connect with the real you. They're not going to connect with the person who wrote something that's kind of similar to someone else. You know what I mean? So there's a lot that needs to be said there, and you will literally create this feeling that people are like, gosh, oh my gosh, I need to do that. I need to work with that person, or I need to, be a part of that community. Whatever it is, it's going to engage, and it's going to create a bond that will really be what you want.
So let's talk just a little bit. I was telling Roxana before the call about this, my whole issue with the imposter syndrome, but that I saw a cartoon this morning. I actually saw it on Google Plus, and I'm sorry that I can't remember who posted it, but it was fantastic. And it was a cartoon, and on the one in the first little frame of the cartoon, it said fresh lemonade, and there's a lemonade stand, and there's nobody in line. And then next to it, there's another lemonade stand, and it says fresher lemonade. And again, there's nobody in line, but it was like, okay, they're trying to distinguish themselves. But then there was a third lemonade stand right next to it, and it said hard lemonade, and it had like a line out the door and people standing around. And Roxana and I were talking about that a little bit, and I'm wondering, Roxana, if you can sort of bring that back to brand personality, and then maybe, start there.
Well, and I think that's a great commercial or example or show or whatever it is that you watch. But the reality is that what they did was brilliant, because the third lemonade stand didn't say freshest lemonade. You know, you had fresh, fresher, and it didn't say freshest. It said hard lemonade. It created its own unique lemonade stand, right, and what it stood for. And that made that person or that lemonade stand out from the other two. And I think, and obviously the hard lemonade, it was going to attract a certain type of consumer or client.
Right.
It's not going to attract everybody, but it's going to attract the people that you want to work with and to be your ideal people. And it's going to represent who you are, and you're going to be incredibly happy doing it because it's who you are. I mean, it's going to be your, you're going to be in your zone of genius that I like to call. It's like, that is it. That is where you shine. And it's only going to be better for you and for your business at the end of the day. So it really does start with brand personalities. I mean, I'm sure people have heard how, the consumer or the client owns the brand. And it's essentially because they have purchasing decision power. Whether it's they're going to purchase your products or services, they have the choice. And ultimately, they choose to work with one person or another, or with one coach or another, or whatever it is that people are. They choose based on a connection, something that they feel when they hear about you or your business and what you do. And marketing and advertising influences consumers and those associations. So it's really one of those things that people don't think about, and yet is crucial. I mean, it just really is, and so that's why I'm so excited to talk about it.
Well, so
let's talk about it all day.
So let's fast forward a little bit and just talk about, okay, so I get it. I get that I need to be slightly more deliberate about, or I need to get to the bottom of my brand personality so that I can then use that, right, as the foundation to kind of grow everything else, so that it's not just about, right, because I think this is where I was struggling for the longest time, is I've done a lot of self-work. I help other people do the self-work to get to the root of who they really are, right? What's my purpose here in the world? And so I felt like, okay, well, I know who I am, and I'm just going to be me, and I will attract clients. But what I found was knowing who you are, and then for me it was building an online presence. There was such a disconnect between who I am and website templates and just sort of how I was presenting myself online. And I also think there was a big fear factor, right, of like there was some things stopping me from presenting myself online because I felt like it has to be so authentic, and I don't know how to make it authentic. And so maybe could you just talk about, like, what is the process, right? Brand personality is important, but once we figure that out, which I know you have a briefing process that I'll let you talk about, but then once we figure that out, what do we do with it? So.
Okay. So yes, I do have a briefing process that I take people through, and it's based on what I used to do with the big guys, and essentially it's a process. It's questions, and it's a form that I go through with clients, and they're key questions that really pulls out certain feelings, and again it's the feelings that are hard to pull out sometimes because we don't think about that as much. But essentially, I do, and I offer this as a deliverable to all my clients. So my clients walk away with an actual brand personality brief, is what I call it, and they are able to use this. I mean, literally, it's in black and white. There it is. So after we have our first, sessions, first couple of sessions, they will have this literally for them to take, and that will be the basis of everything else that they do. So the way that we continue working together is that, let's say, throughout a 3-month process, the first couple of times we figure out this creative brief, I give them the brief completely done, and then based on that, and there could be some, back and forth, like, oh, I forgot to mention this, or I forgot to mention that, and that's okay, we could tweak it. It's a living document at the end of the day. But it's one of those things where it's a starting point. Then we start working on how to implement it so people can either launch their own business or transform it and revamp their current business to create alignment with what they want people to feel and what their brand personality is. This brand personality that they've now discovered. And now they feel like, wow, this is it. This is what I can do. So then from then on, that's what I do. I help people implement it and literally be able to launch a business and provide them support along the way. So, and I also help, let's say they're working with a graphic designer or a VA, because I don't offer creating websites for people, but I offer the entire process and the guide, and I'm there to support them throughout the process. And I also offer clients my services to, if they have a graphic designer creating a logo, or if they have a VA or a company creating their website, then I'm happy to do that first initial call with them, or even a conference call, so I can help communicate what we have talked about. And I think that's a really big piece, because a lot of times what clients see is that, yes, they have this piece of paper and we've talked about it, but then how do they communicate that the right way to get it done properly, so the person can carry, so either a VA or a company, a website company, or whoever is putting together their branding image actually is able to do that consistently with what they're thinking. So I think that's another big thing that I offer clients, and they're loving it. They're loving it. And all this experience, this is exactly, and I'm telling you, it's exactly what I did in advertising on all the campaigns on, like I said, Toyota, Nissan, Cadillac, Domino's, Carl's Jr. I mean, I've worked on a ton of national brands, so they all went through the same process.
Well, that's the thing that I really enjoy about working with you is both, right? You're my business BFF in that, you have expertise in that particular area. So, like, you're right. I got this branding brief, and I was very excited about, like there's me on paper, and I did, just like you were saying, like, oh, Roxanne, I completely forgot to mention the whole, like, athletic side of me, and like, oh, we need to put that in there, let's go back to the drawing board. And I think that the revisions are super valuable, but more than that is wow, did I see your expertise when it came to, like, the nitty-gritty, the little details about brand consistency, like even on web page, like fonts and colors and things that I think, as someone who's hiring a graphic designer, I would expect, like, well, I want it to be cheerful, and that they would they would make it in, like, my idea of cheerful. And I have found that to not be true, that a graphic designer does, there, no disrespect to graphic designers out there, and in fact, if you are one of them, because you know what, the truth is I'm not working with a graphic designer, I'm working with someone who says they can build websites, which is perhaps different. But this person in particular is not, they don't have the same vision, and I don't have the vocabulary to convey to them what it is, nor the, like, specificity that I have appreciated coming from you. So I'll let you.
And that's what I love about it, because I absolutely loved doing this. And that was essentially my job. My job was to, work with clients in advertising and then develop these briefs, these creative briefs, these branding briefs, and then communicate them to the creative director, the copywriter. And so I have this experience that I'm able to work with the creative folks. And I think that's a really big piece, because they do have a different mind, and that's why they do what they do, and they do it so well. And I think that, here I am, I'm the strategic person, I'm the person who, helps you figure out what that feeling is and develop strategies around it, so then you could launch a business that you're proud of, that represents who you are, and essentially will, attract your ideal client. But then you have to go from creating those strategies and developing that feeling and what knowing for sure what you want people to feel, and it needs to be communicated to the right people. And it needs to be communicated well, so they can bring to life what's in your head. And I think a lot of times things get miscommunicated and things aren't brought to life the right way. So I offer that to clients, and I think that initial conversation with website designers, graphic designers, or whatever it is that people enlist to help them develop this brand, then, the brand image, it's the pieces, right? I help them get there, but someone else develops those pieces. And it's really just exciting to see the process and see the process unfold, because I love it. I just absolutely love it. I have a smile on my face, and I get all woohoo, like a little kid in the candy shop, I do. I feel like a little kid in the candy shop. And I feel this excitement, because I know in my heart how it can transform your business. I just know it.
Right.
And so I'm excited to be able to share that with people and work one-on-one with people doing that. It really is a great, great thing.
Well, and Roxana, I'm excited for you, because you are somebody who, it's not, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but this is like the thing that separates you from the crowd of other business coaches, but you are still a fantastic business coach in that you know what that's like to start a business from zero, to get it to a place where you're able to sell that business and move on to the next thing, which I know is an entrepreneurial dream for a lot of people. But beyond that, then you went through the whole transformational process of, really getting to who you are and what your work in the world is. And I love that it's come right back to, right? Like you're supporting other women, you're supporting entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, female entrepreneurs. Like I see you as really supporting other women in finding their authentic self, and then going out and using that authentic self to create a business around it, which is fantastic. So anyways, I just want to give a little shout out to you there. So Roxana, we are going to go a few minutes over on time, so quickly, because now I'm sure everybody who's watching is dying, right? They're Buddy the Elf right now. They're like, ooh, I want one. So
well, I gotta tell you, Carrie, so I actually have, for people listening and watching, I put together a free 3-day audio course on brand personality, and that kind of kicks people off. It gives you an idea of what brand personality is and isn't, so it goes more in depth than what we talked about today. It also has an exercise on how to gain clarity around brand personality, and obviously, again, when you work one-on-one with me, we go way in depth. I mean, way, way more in depth. But for an audio course, this gives you an idea. It kind of gives you, it puts things in perspective as to maybe do you lean more in one direction or another. So I take people through an exercise. Then I also offer information about brand consistency, why it's important, and why you really can't do without. So it's a great audio course. It's a quick one. It's about 6-7 minutes each for 3 days, and it really gives a snapshot of what it's about and why it's important, and hopefully it'll help people get started. And if you want to work with me, awesome too.
Well, so I'm gonna actually close up shop here and just reiterate what Roxana just said. So she had her website on her lower third, and I will also put it in the comment section, which, by the way, guys, thanks for hanging in there, because as far as I can see I have a group chat open, but I have a feeling that's just me and Roxana, and that I may not be able to see your comments. So I promise to figure. Yeah.
Carrie, can I just say one more thing too? Just so people know, I'm also rebranding. So my website, I'm rebranding myself because I'm going through the process as well. So just know that stay tuned. The next couple of weeks, you're going to see this killer image that I've created for myself too. So anyway, but yes, my website is www.roxanabranigan.com. But I'm going through the process too. Woohoo!
Which I think is so funny, right? I grew up, my dad was a tile guy, right? And our like kitchen and bathroom were they were always out of date, like the last to get done. So totally get it. Totally get it. That the contractor's house is never finished.
Exactly.
So if you want to get in touch with Roxana, and I highly recommend that you do, I recommend going to roxanabranigan.com and clicking on her free audio course. Take it. It will help you get clarity. And then you can also sign up for a clarity session with Roxana, which will be incredibly valuable. So, guys, we went over just a few minutes, so thanks for hanging in there. Again, episode 2 of the Carrie Roldan Show, learning as we go. But I'm here to be your business BFF and to really support other women entrepreneurs. I am also, if you haven't guessed, the Run Yourself Happy coach. And don't forget, if you want to find out more about that, you can start with my free report, which is free report at runyourselfhappysystem.com. So please, guys, if I'm missing comments, I'm so sorry. I'm learning as I go. Leave your comments. Roxana and I will be there to continue the conversation. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today, and we will see you next time. Big virtual hug. See you later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.